How do I get into streaming Genshin? Well, one thing I say to everyone who says they want to be a streamer is that it's very, very hard to grow on Twitch just by itself. So if you want to grow for real, you need to make content on other platforms and bring people to Twitch. So make YouTube shorts or make YouTube videos. Like, it's nearly impossible, I think, to grow just streaming on Twitch. You're basically just like betting on luck. Do you think someone should start doing Twitch after YouTube videos? No, I think you can do it all simultaneously because it all feeds into itself, right? So let's say you want to start streaming, you have to get people to know who you are, because Twitch, I'm sure you guys have realized this by now, Twitch doesn't have like a lot of discoverability. So if you want to stream, here's how I make content. YouTube has a very sophisticated algorithm. So if I want to make content and I want to bring people to my Twitch stream and I want to make successful YouTube videos, I come up with a content idea, I stream that, I have it edited, and then I post that on YouTube, and then that YouTube video gets views, and that alone is worthwhile. But then that brings people to Twitch. I think one thing I tell a lot of up-and-coming like potential content creators is that if you want to make this a career, it is a huge like your time management is super, super important. A lot of streamers spend a lot of their time streaming. They'll stream for like 8 hours, which isn't necessarily wrong, but if you're trying to get discovered, Twitch is not like streaming for long hours on Twitch without Totem barely. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, TikTok is good. What I found is that TikTok doesn't have as much, just like it doesn't translate as well to Twitch viewers. Basically, like it's hard to ask people to switch from a mobile platform to a long-form content, right? Or long-form platform. Yeah, so TikTok has really good discoverability. TikTok was definitely worthwhile because it helped me get my start, and it helped me like establish my initial audience on like TikTok and get into the habit of content creation, but it didn't translate well to other platforms. Like I had, I think like 400,000, maybe less, maybe like 300,000 TikTok followers, but I only was averaging like 70 viewers or so on Twitch. And once I started posting on YouTube, like YouTube, on the other hand, is a long form platform. So you're asking someone to watch you for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. That's a lot longer. It's much easier to go from a YouTube stream to a YouTube video to a Twitch stream, as opposed to like 20 seconds on a TikTok to a Twitch stream. It's isolated, right? TikTok is isolated, and it's very niche content as well. So TikTok was worthwhile, but you might have noticed I don't post on TikTok much anymore because I don't think it's worth it, and I've developed some moral objections to the platform as a whole. I think YouTube is a better investment long run. It is harder to get started. I'll just say that. And just for your guys' knowledge, I made YouTube videos for a long time before they got any traction. Would you say it's worth getting into content creation as a placeholder career? I will say I think it's worth trying. I think it's worth trying. But just understand, like, you have to grind hard to make it a full-time job. Like, it takes a while. For me, like, my path from ground zero to where I am now was very slow and tedious for a long time. Basically, like, high investment, low reward. And then I hit a point of like where I really like unlocked, but it took me more than a year to get there. So like, yeah, to get over things like embarrassment, to post stuff, to like learn how to deal with toxicity, to learn what type of content am I the best at, to just define like, what am I good at? What am I, what's my special skill? Like what do people watch my content for? Why do they watch me? Why would people choose to watch me instead of somebody else? And those questions, like those answers to those questions, took me more than a year to answer. It's worth trying if you want to do it, but I wouldn't jump ship on like a full-time job or anything until you really have something strong under your feet. Because even like speaking in Twitch specifically, a lot of streamers, and I don't mean this to like slight anyone, but I see it happening a lot, is streamers work really hard and push their community really hard to get partnered, which if you don't know, getting partner requires you reach 75 average viewers, and then you have to like, yeah, there's like, it's dependent on like the reviewer. A lot of streamers push really hard for that that 75 and then they don't know where to go after that. And I see a lot of streamers get to that 75 average viewer and then just start to drop off. It's funny because for a long time, for probably like 5 months, I was hovering around that like 60 average viewer. And then once I figured out what I needed to do to really grow, I skyrocketed from like 60 to 1,000 in like less than probably 4 months. So yeah, to really genuinely make it, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time and it's a lot of being able to like be critical of yourself. I think a lot of people have a hard time starting. I think starting is one of the hardest parts, like getting in the habit, because you can do content creation as a side job. I think a lot of people start content creation with like a lot of expectations that like if they start, then they're gonna start like succeeding immediately. You really have to learn to temper that. You have to be willing to be okay with failing. I hesitate to even use the word failing because failing is essential for success. I really think that. And your attitude toward not succeeding immediately is essential. Is essential to actually getting where you are. Or where you want to be, excuse me. Do you have any advice for lack of motivation? It's funny that you ask. I was pretty unmotivated yesterday, which is why I didn't stream. I didn't really do anything except I edited a little bit. Yeah, I was really unmotivated and I just like felt off yesterday. I think determining the source of your lack of motivation is important because yesterday I think I just like had an off day. Like I didn't get enough sleep. I had like some physical like pain. I just didn't feel good yesterday physically and emotionally. So I said, okay, I'm going to take today off and I'll come back tomorrow. That motivation is different. That lack of motivation is different than like, is it a consistent thing? Is it, what's the reason I'm not motivated? Is it because I am having an off day? Or is it because I don't like what I'm doing? If you don't like what you're doing, then you're gonna feel unmotivated. And it doesn't mean you're always gonna enjoy every part of it, but if you're not satisfied with the end result of what you're like working on, then you are gonna feel unmotivated and you're gonna feel stuck. Being a streamer needs constant psychoanalysis. Yeah, you have to be able to be honest with yourself about where you are. And if you want it bad enough, like this isn't the most helpful advice, but the thing is if you want it badly enough, like you'll chase it. There's lots of people who want to do things, who want to succeed, but the reality is if you're not willing to push past your limits on some things and push out of your comfort zone, like too bad. There's lots of other people who will work harder than you, and it's not a competition. You don't need to compete with anyone except yourself. You gotta work for it. Yeah, Genshin TikTok is very questionable. Let's just say I'm only posting on TikTok because I have to, because I signed a contract that I wish that I had not. But the reason I don't like TikTok, it caters to kids and yet has so little moderation on sexual content. I think there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of brainwashing that happens on TikTok. I think it feeds into confirmation bias. I think that it knows that it can capitalize off of sexualization of young people. So I have a problem with that. It's an echo chamber, which is the same thing as like confirmation bias. It's an echo chamber. It's non-consensual content. So what I mean by that is people get exposed to stuff that either they don't want to see or they shouldn't be seeing, because you might see like, okay, it might be a little graphic. Let's say a 13-year-old person is scrolling and they see something sexual. They could get recommended content that is way too graphic and way too, it's just inappropriate. It's inappropriate for a 13-year-old to be exposed to certain things. They don't need it. Another thing, TikTok culture forces / encourages teenagers to be activists. And it's not to say that young people being activists is bad. It's not. However, a culture has generated where young people, high schoolers, junior hires, feel like they have to have an opinion and have to have a political or social stance on everything. And I think that's unrealistic. And I think it's not fair. And I don't think young people should have to have an opinion about everything. I think they should focus on their schoolwork. And I think they should focus on developing social skills and critical thinking skills and making friends. You don't need to have an opinion on something you don't understand. You also don't need to share that opinion. I have opinions. I have plenty of opinions. You don't see me sharing a lot of my social political opinions. And it's not necessary. It's like, it's not because I'm in the minority or I have something to hide. It's because I don't feel the need to share that with everyone. I make those decisions in my personal life. I vote. And then I move on with my life. Also, one thing I forgot, TikTok also encourages a sense of bullying. Not sense of, it's literally bullying. I see it in comments all the time. Well, not anymore because I don't have TikTok on my phone. But like, people are so comfortable just like harassing people over their like physical appearance. Like, it's bullying. it's bullying. TikTok is the same. I mean, Twitter is very similar. But at least there's more adults on that platform. And Genshin TikTok is also very intense. Someone started a rumor about me on TikTok and people comment on my... Someone started the most ridiculous rumor I've ever heard about me, the thing that I said. Something that I didn't say, but they thought I was gonna say. It was completely wrong. Completely wrong. And completely lacked common sense. And people comment on my TikToks like it's true. I heard you said, didn't you say, are you gonna apologize for saying no? Because I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that. So that's why I don't like TikTok. What do you mean? Dishbeing 42 isn't a rumor? So that's why I don't like TikTok. I think there's so many reasons to not use it. I would recommend YouTube Shorts now over TikTok, just because I think it still has a lot of viral potential, but TikTok is so isolated compared to like, TikTok is just like its own little like thing. So I can't in good faith like recommend TikTok to anybody. I recommend YouTube Shorts. I think there's way more viral potential there because it's just a bigger user base. And almost, to be frank, a lot of content on YouTube Shorts is just bad. So if you have good content, YouTube Shorts is the move. Now we're gonna talk about editing. Alright, so I think one of the biggest hurdles for content creators, up and coming content creators, is that editing is hard. A lot of people, I think, even like stay on TikTok or just only edit shorts content because it's easier. Like learning how to use an editing software to the point where you can edit a whole YouTube video. Oh, it is so tedious. And I'm at the point where like I've hired editors to edit for me. So I don't do most of my own editing except for shorts. I edit my own shorts and clips, and I edit occasionally. I'll edit like some videos. Editing is one of those things where it's going to be high investment, especially for YouTube. It's a lot of work for very little reward, but I think it's essential if you want to make it past the like entry-level content creator position. You have to learn how to edit. When I first started my first YouTube video, I edited on my phone on iMovie. And that video got like 20,000 views, I think. It was like my Animal Crossing vlog. Like, I think there's really no excuse for it. If you actually want to edit, you have to just do it. It's very important. You have to just suck it up. With editing, you really have to just suck it up. Yes, the DaVinci Resolve is a free editing software. CapCut works for mobile editing, for like editing TikToks and stuff. But again, like I used iMovie. So I think like, yeah, I use the resources available to me. I use Premiere Pro personally. Premiere Pro is a very complicated and frankly, it's clunky. It can be clunky, but it's incredibly powerful software. It's worth using eventually, but you don't, it's a bit too much of like, it's a very high barrier of entry. So you don't need to start on Premiere Pro, especially if you've never edited before. You're gonna get pretty overwhelmed pretty fast. Let me show you my YouTube subscriber count, like my history, because that will show you, I'll show you that it's like, I'm not just like talking about stuff I don't know. So this is my YouTube analytics from when I think this is when I first posted my first YouTube video. And this is like when I started actually hardcore editing and posting, like 2 months of just mostly nothing, and then it took off, right? There's a lot of editing, spending hours and hours and hours editing to get like 400 views on a YouTube video. So it's not easy. I could talk about what kind of content to make, like what content is successful. So every good piece of content, I think, brings value. I think that's like the most important thing is, does this bring value to the person who is watching it in one way or another? Is it educational? Is it entertaining? Is it audience focused? Because I mean, there are plenty of things that I thought were going to do well early on that flopped, and then random stuff that I didn't think was going to do well that did really well. So I think an easy way to determine worth and value changes depending on who you are and what it is exactly that you want to bring to an audience. If my main source of value in my YouTube videos is education, I would say Slice does that really, really well. He goes hard and creates incredible, literally incredible videos educating Genshin Impact players on how to build characters. And he does that exceptionally well. Like, I think my skill set is calming entertainment. I think I do chill background content really, really well. And I think things just happen that end up turning into good content, taking advantage of like opportunities. And I think we have really nice like conversations. I think that's been like a cool benefit of my streams as well. Like Atsu provides totally different content than me. And like if I tried to do the content that Atsu does consistently, one, I would exhaust myself. And two, it would just be a cheap second. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am who I am. People watch me for different reasons than they watch people like Atsu or Tectone. Like, I'm not Tectone. I will never be able to have that energy that he has. I wouldn't enjoy making that content either. So I'm not going to. I'm going to play to my strengths and not try to do things that I'm not good at. I really think that you only should be competing with yourself. I don't know if I could actually legitimately imitate Tectone. I think I would be so exhausted after like 30 seconds. Atsu impressions, man. That'd be kind of funny to do impressions of other Genshin streamers.